Pasteles or tamales, banana leaves or corn husk, um, masa base or green plantain base, pasteles or tamales, Mexican or Puerto Rican. Which is it gonna be, Marvel?
The Latino Slant presents Slant News Flash. Entertainment stories from around the world. Give us 5 minutos. We'll give you El Mundo.
Paulie here on the Latino Slant. What are you talking about, Paulie? I'm gonna tell you what I just did. I just took two very well-known delicacies, one from Mexico, one from Puerto Rico, one a tamale, one a pastele. They're very similar and yet they're very different. Okay, and people don't like to be mistaken one for the other. Doesn't make sense. Just like America Chavez in Doctor Strange 2 doesn't make sense. Paulie here on the Latino Slant. This is a Slant News Flash. You guys have been asking me, when are you going to review the movie? When are you going to talk about this? When are you going to talk about this? I'm not reviewing the movie. I will talk about the portrayal of the character that is written of America Chavez, which, like that film, is a complete disaster. Although I loved the acting of Xochitl Gomez, it's very commendable. She's very cute, very bouncy, all that good stuff. There was nothing to the character. There was a couple of moments of connection with Doctor Strange that I thought were very endearing, but a few endearing moments here and there of this film, it's the least of it. There's so many problems with this movie. Now, at one point, she spoke Spanish and called Doctor Strange a way. And a way, Guey, a way in in Mexico and here in the Southwest is is a dummy, is a stupid, is a guy, is a person, but it's a colloquialism attached and connected to Chicanos, Mexican Americans, and Mexicanos, not Puerto Rico, not Boricuas, not New Ricans. They probably were like, what the hell is this? Now, I say this because the comic origin, and I will have a video connected to this where I talked to some comic book experts. The comic origins of America Chavez too have been problematic and have changed over the last 10 years. I will tell you one of its most infamous panels, they had America saying flipping tamales. Again, and in that iteration, she is Boricua grown up Puerto Rican, even though she's an alien, she grew up in a Puerto Rican household. Puerto Ricans won't say it, holy flipping tamales, they would would say pasteles. I mean, that example is just what I'm talking about as far as the laziness and ignorance on Marvel, and we know how that goes. So let's get to this article. I just want to read this one section from, let's make myself small, from Rosa, from Rosa Reviews, Latinx Lens. Love her reviews. And, it's funny. I read this entire thing to my membership the other night, and they thought Rosa was being too nice. As here she says, as previously mentioned, I was anxiously anticipating this movie as one of the main reasons was the introduction of the first live-action Latina superhero in the MCU, America Chavez. First, I haven't read any of her comics and I have zero knowledge of her character. This character was severely underwritten to the extent that I didn't care about her outcome. And that's Rosa saying that. For a character whose important plot device, America Chavez, is so one-dimensionally written, but we weren't expected to become emotionally invested solely based on her age. There's one scene where she learned about her origin, but it's superficially handled, and it wasn't allowed to breathe, which diminished its meaning. Yes, remember she had the memory banks where she stepped onto the thing. That's a spoiler. I don't care. It was a cheap cinematic device to do a flashback. How do we know she's Latina? Well, there's a scene or two where she speaks Spanish with Doctor Strange for the sake of speaking Spanish. It felt unneeded, random, and to some extent forced. No, to the entire extent forced. Rosa, you're being way too nice. This has nothing to do with Xochitl Gomez, who does the very best with what she's given. I agree. Hopefully, down the road, with a better script, she can become a more compelling character. Oh, well, Yeah, if there's ever gonna be another iteration of this, I mean, woo, what I would say to that Marvel, to that Disney, let Latinos write this or bring in a Latino co-writer so you know what the hell you're doing. Just like with so many iterations, with so many of your token uh perceptions and souveniristic representation of the Latino culture, it falls flat, it's ignorant, and ultimately it's offensive. That is your slant news flash. That is my take on Mexi-AMERICA Chavez. She wasn't Boricua. And the whole thing is just a big question mark. Be well, everybody. Wherever you're at, keep your fight fuerte.
Slant Newsflash was recorded at the Slant Studios. All information has been pre-approved by our Slantino staff of Chicanos, Cholos, homeboys, and homegirls. Keep your slant fuerte.